What's up, you guys? It's your girl Love Ashe back at you with another video. This is going to be for Aquarius and Aquarius rising for your month of April intuitive messages. Let's get started, you guys, because yeah, Aquarius, you guys, you didn't go cold. You didn't go cold. You went numb. And it's not really because you wanted to, but because nobody came when you cried the first time. Because the people who were supposed to stay, they left, because the ones who said, I got you, they didn't even look back. Like, I'm really tapped into y'all's energy right now, and I'm feeling so much of what you feel. And it's like when it happened over and over again, you just made this quiet decision, like, you know what, I'll just do it myself. You know what, I'll just carry it myself. You know what, I'll just figure it out myself. You became the strong one, the smart one, the independent one, the one that nobody checks on because you always seem fine. But you haven't felt fine in a long time. You felt restrained, detached, and on autopilot even for some of you, because when you go through enough pain without a safe place to put it, you don't stop needing love. You just stop expecting it. You guys have spent years perfecting the art of appearing unbothered, right? But your soul has been starving for truth. And April is not here to coddle that mask that you've been wearing. It's here to melt that shit. This is the month where pretending stops working, where the I'm good, that shit starts glitching, where the emotions that you locked in the basement start knocking louder than ever so that you can be free. Because you weren't born for emotional detachment. You weren't made to live behind a wall. You weren't designed to be numb. You just had to survive some things you never fully got to process. And now Spirit is saying, you're safe to feel now. Not just the pain, but pleasure. Not just grief, but joy. But in order to feel again, you have to make peace with what made you freeze in the first place. Spirit is untying the bondage that taught you silence in the month of April. The pain that you suppressed, it shaped you, and it taught you how to be quiet when you wanted to fucking scream. It taught you how to laugh things off when you really wanted to cry, how to give your best to people who never deserved your loyalty. But that bondage, it's spiritual now. It's not just emotional. It's energetic. And that's why you feel stuck. Not because you're lazy, not because you lack vision, but it's because you haven't felt safe enough to move forward. Your soul has been on pause, just waiting and watching, trying to calculate how to grow without being hurt again. But now the math ain't mathing. Because the longer you try to stay in control, the more your spirit starts pushing back. April is about surrender. Not to people, not to pain, but to truth. The truth that you're still healing from things that made you afraid to open. The truth that independence is starting to feel more like isolation. The truth that you want to be seen, you want to be held, loved, chosen. And that don't make you weak, friend. It makes you human. This abandonment wound, it isn't your identity. That part of you that always prepares to be left. You know the one. The part that keeps one foot out the door. The one that doesn't get too comfortable. The one that doesn't ask for much so it doesn't get disappointed. That's not your nature. That's trauma. And Spirit is lovingly calling it out right now, because you've learned how to make abandonment your baseline. You expect it. You have normalized it. You've prepped for it. But you're being called into relationships that don't run when it gets real. Connections that don't disappear when you reveal your truth, when you reveal the real version of who you are. Spaces that don't require you to audition for love. But guess what though? Guess what? I know you're like, Ashe, You have to let them in, Aquarius. And that means letting go of this self-fulfilling prophecy that nobody ever stays around. Because they can't stay if you're always emotionally packing your bags. They can't love you fully if your heart is on lockdown. You can say, I want real love. I want real love. But only give them the version of you that doesn't need anything. How does that work? If you desire real love, but you only giving folks this version of you that doesn't need anything from nobody. I don't need nothing from nobody. This Ice Queen era, Ice King era, it's over. You wore that crown because you had to. Because it was safer to look untouchable than to admit that you were really hurt. Because that ice identity is melting now. And it's not because you're weak, but it's because you want warmth. You want intimacy. You want softness without suspicion. Tired of being on guard, right? And baby, you can have that. But first you have to be honest about how much you still flinch at kindness. Like, kindness. Kindness. How hard it is to receive without giving. How scary it feels to let someone see you before you all put together, before you got all of your ducks in a row. The people that's coming into your life now, they're not coming to hurt you. They're coming to mirror your healing, but they can't love the real you if you're only showing the healed parts. And this month is asking you to take that armor off. Not all at once, not in public, but in sacred private moments where you let your soul speak without shame. You're safe to feel. You're safe to love. You're safe to live. Aquarius, your detachment, it kept you alive. But your vulnerability, that's what's going to set you free. And you're building boundaries that actually feel good. You're not distant. You're learning how to return to thyself. And so this month, Spirit is asking you, can you let yourself need something again? Can you let people love you without auditioning? Can you admit that you're ready for a new way to exist? One where you're emotionally present and not emotionally performing, because that version of you that numbed out to survive, done with that. Done with that job. It's over. Now it's time to let your heart breathe again, to let your truth be felt. Let love in. Not just ideas of it, but real love. You're finally feeling again, Aquarius. I know y'all are like, yay, I'm feeling again. All right, so that is your message, Aquarius, for the month of April. Let me know in the comments. I gotta know. Let me know in the comments. Okay? And I'll talk to y'all real soon. Ashe.